G'day folks, welcome back to Tanto Monta. I'm at the start of turn 2. I have kind of gone through the kind of early, what do we call it, it's called the initial phase for the turn, the card draw phase, the diplomacy phase, and we're up to the spring phase. And this is basically where we pick the headline events. Now, to recap what's happened, I did a live playthrough. You can check that out in the live videos. But basically, Muslims with a very small hand have recaptured Arcelar. Now, the Portuguese didn't really respond to this. I didn't realise how important this was until later on. The Portuguese were focused. We got Henry the Navigator out on that first turn, thanks to the French. A deal was made. Henry the Navigator came out, and the Portuguese set out to explore. They get a head start more than anyone else. So they've been exploring out here, sitting there, building their naus, sailing them out down the west coast of Africa and establishing their settlements, which gives resources. They've been trying to kind of avoid military conflict. The Spanish have made a few missteps. They had a huge hand and just fumbled and made some mistakes. They've been focusing largely on the Canary Islands, which is going well. They've captured Gran Canaria. They're on their way to Tenerife, so not... Actually, these guys need to pull back. I will make sure I fix that. That's done. But yeah, they're on their way. What else? Okay, so the Spanish have made a lot of little tactical errors. They've been building up their forces largely. The French are doing remarkably well. Their combat roles have been perfect. They have won the war in Burgundy. They have captured Metz. They have secured large parts of northern Italy. So pretty happy with how kind of everything is going. They have Florence as a minor ally. They've lost the papacy. That might be a short-term goal for them this coming turn. All right, so we get to the headline phase. Cards have been drawn. Let's go through these one at a time, and I'll kind of explain my thinking. So the Muslims get their home cards. Their hand of just 4 cards is pretty disappointing. 4, 3, 3, 3, including 2 mandatory cards and response cards, and a Canary Island conquest, which I can't do anything with. So there's nothing that really helps them. This helps the Portuguese, that hurts the Portuguese. They're at war with the Portuguese, so maybe it'd be good to see this event come out. What do they want to happen? Look, maybe it'd be good, because they're at war with Portugal and they want to continue their kind of campaigning in West Africa, maybe some Portuguese tribal insurrection would help. So they're going to say, I want to play this, but what am I going to play to support it? Well, I don't want this event to happen, so I'm going to say that's a headline event, and we're going to power it with a 3 CP. The first question is, can I play a mandatory, cannot be a mandatory event. Cannot play a mandatory event. So let's say, all right, then we'll power it up with the Canary Islands, which we can't do anyway. The other option is, well, we don't have a 2-up. If we had a 2-up card, I would probably play this 2-up card to try to get the other Portuguese event not to happen. In fact, you know what? Here's a funny thing. Right now, the Portuguese score 0 victory points for this event. They control 1 port on 1 Atlantic port, Mazagan, so they will score no victory points. So maybe the Muslims are like, okay, let's get this out of the way first before the Portuguese can even attempt to recapture their forts. The Portuguese they saved 1 card. They have their home card. Home cards, plural, plus they saved 1, and they get a few other cards. Now they have got these no event cards, which give you a high level of headline event support. So what I can do is I can play this for headline event support, and then pick my headline card, and it's pretty much 8 CP for headline event support is all but guaranteed. I don't think anything can beat this for its headline support value, which means the Portuguese are all but guaranteed of a victory point and their event being resolved. What event do they want? Look, this is a good one. Portugal places 1 now in the built nows box or at a settlement. Portugal then makes 2 naval moves, so they can get there now, advancing along West Africa, or they advance their influence marker. Or I could play something like Overseas Kingdom, add a now, then conduct 2 naval moves. You know what? I'm going to go with this. It's a small event, but it'll just give me that little bit of a start. That saves my high op cards for later on. Build now, 2 naval moves, advance down the coast, look for this 3rd area. All right, pretty happy with that. The Spanish have got a huge hand of cards. Now they got very lucky with their rolls. So the Spanish roll for Ferdinand to draw additional cards. He got pretty lucky and drew a few extra cards. Unfortunately, wasn't drawing a lot. 2 ops, 2 ops, 3 op, 3 op, plus their home cards. Yeah, Crown of Aragon, Seed of Empire, Tanto Monta. What am I going to do? I'd like to hold on to that for later. 5 naval units is great. I could just get rid of these low op cards. Advance your influence marker with Venice by 1 level. They're very low on Venice, so I don't think that's going to be good. Making a Muslim formation lose 6 militia. That would be great here in Sahel. It would remove the pressure on Gibraltar. So I kind of want, it's a low up card as well. So if I can make that happen, and what do I power it up with? Play to initiate assault on a besieged port space. I think I'll play this. I'm going to play this, power it up with 4. I kind of want this to happen, so I don't want to be a 2 or a 3. I think I like that idea. So the Spanish are going to make the Muslims lose 6 militia just to remove the threat to Gibraltar. Well, not entirely remove it, but substantially reduce the threat to Gibraltar. Now, the French also got pretty lucky. They have got their noble houses performing very well, so they drew a couple of extra cards. Unfortunately, you can see here, not a great hand. A 2 op, a 2 op, a 3 op, a 3 op. Maritime technology is great, but for the Portuguese or the Spanish, not the French. Advancing their marker in Genoa. They'd love to have Genoa, but they're on 0 when the Portuguese are already up pretty high. Catalan, unrest markers, basically. I don't want that to happen. Oh, French gains a VP in, where is it? Barcelona, in up to 4 spaces. Barcelona, which I don't want to happen. Vic, I don't know where that is. Vic, Lerida. Okay, so we'll look at these kind of spaces. There's Vic, Lerida, Girona, which is Aragon, Ampurias, which is on the coast, Palamos, which is Aragon, and Tarragona, which is Aragon. So I could, yeah, in up to, so I could play that. I'd just get a victory point for that. That's tempting. War against Burgundy. Now this actually hurts the French. It's one of my own, it's a mandatory event. I have to play it at some stage. Look, I could play, this is going to sound weird, but I could just play this, resolve it. It'll give me a victory point. It has to happen. It has to happen at some stage. So I could just say, look, I have to play this at some stage. Or you know what? Or I could get it out with a 2-op card. So it's kind of either removing the event with a 2-op card. That takes a 2-op card out of my hand. And this won't happen. It's a gamble though. Because if anybody else, the French don't know, but if anybody else plays a 2-op card, this is a tough decision. I'm kind of feeling that, because once this is played a second time, it's removed from the deck and I don't have to worry about it. And the French have been doing a lot of this cleaning up. They want to sort out their internal struggles, internal issues, Northern Italy, before they start, what I was planning on doing was deploying down to perfect. I can still do this. I can do both. I can deploy down to fight Aragon and fight this internal war, which kind of makes me think I want this to happen. Power of the Crown. But you know what? When I play this, this will happen and then I get 3 ops. This, if I play this, so if I power this up, the Rise of France, move a leader formation from a French home key to a controlled space, but I can cross a pass. This would let me move a leader. I could move Tremoille across to Turin, basically. They can cross a pass with this card, and then take 2 CPs worth of actions. So I could launch this attack on Milan. I could be set up to capture Milan. What am I going to power it with? It'd have to be a decent card. See, I'm stuck with all. See, it's a risk that this may not happen, which makes me think, okay, maybe I just go with a France Gazer VP, Maritime Technology, right? So this card can't help me. Let's save War Against Burgundy for later in the turn. My French objectives for this turn are going to be to lay siege to Milan, it's going to be tough because they've got, I think, 7 or 8 independent regulars there. I'm going to lead, not knowing what everyone else is doing, bearing in mind, I'm going to lead with this, unrest markers, gaining a French VP, powered up with 3, because I don't want to spend anything more than that. All right, so we know everything is done. Let's work through it. Okay, so we reveal, boom, 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 boom. We go, right, well, first is the Portuguese. They power this up. They score a victory point. Okay, reach over, sorry. Portuguese victory point. All right, they score a victory point, and then their event happens. Now, their event is the Portuguese place a now, one of these, not Da Gama, in the built box or in a settlement if they have less than 2 on the map. Well, they can't do that because they have 3 on the map. And then they take 2 naval moves. So I'm going to, or I can advance Florence or Naples. Florence, no. Naples, no. So I'm going to shuffle these up, built, and now it's going to be one of my best ones again. The Portuguese have been very lucky with this. So we are doing this. Then we do 2 naval moves. Our first naval move comes down here. We're not crossing a dangerous zone. We already have the VP cartography for zone 1. Okay, so I don't think we can get that again. Second naval move, we're going to move down here. Now, let me double check this. Do we roll? I think we roll on the... I think we're allowed to roll on the navigation table again. Special exploration. Okay, let's find this out. Okay. It's sailing into an ocean zone. It has been explored. Okay. So they don't make that check. If I successfully explored an ocean zone but failed to get the marker, then, if a marker is available, a subsequent attempt to earn it may be attempted. To do so, I use the naval movement. Okay, so I have to forfeit the move to try to explore, basically. And then I'm allowed to make that roll. But I chose to move forward because I want to get into this zone 3 and explore this. Simple as that. That's done. That is the Portuguese turn over. It's a fairly simple event. We now go to who has the second most, and it is the Spanish. Now, the Spanish. Yep. So we have to now, they need to make a roll during this spring phase, second place. They roll a die, and if the result is 5 or higher, which it is not, so they don't gain a VP, but they can spend, in fact, that's a 2. They can spend admin points to boost it. They're not going to be able to boost it to a 5. So they can't get the VP. Instead, a Muslim formation loses 6 militias. Blah, blah, blah. Removed from the deck if played as an event. So that is now removed. First card actually removed from play. Yeah. That's the Spanish turn done. We now have a tie, 3 and 3. And if there's a tie, the player with less VP goes first. So this will be the Muslims. They power it up with 3 and they play this for the event. Portugal gains no VP and the Muslims get 3 CP to spend. That's because they don't control enough. 3 CP to spend. What are they going to do? 3 CP. Okay, I can tell you what they're going to do. They're going to try and rebuild some militia. 1, 2... Oops, get the right ones. 1. We'll make change. All right, that's 3 Nazrid militia. And where are we going to put them? Put, I think, 2 over here in Sahel and 1 over on the right. Not a lot going on there, I know, but we've just lost 6 militia. We're already weak in the north here. That's what we're doing. And finally, the French do not execute their event. That's a shame. They lose out on that potential VP, but they can move one other player's or one influence up, move any player's influence marker 1 space up or down. So they really want Venice. So they're going to move Venice up 1. Now what this means is that if they have an event, I didn't actually check we had an event to resolve Genoese. Okay, maybe Genoa. Yeah, okay. If I can move Genoa up, and then if I can get it up again through diplomatic influence, then I can play this card, check their status. If the French are ahead when that is checked, they automatically gain Genoa. So the French are going to gain Genoa, I'm pretty confident, this turn. They need to do 1 CP action to advance it. Yeah. All right, so that is the headline event done. I really like the headline phase. I know some people have been critical of it. I think it gives you some really interesting decisions as I've just run through. Some tense decisions. Do you really want an event to happen? How much do you want it to happen? Or do you want that VP? The Portuguese gained a VP for that event. They are on track to potentially gain more. They've set themselves up for the turn. The Spanish, what did the Spanish even do? I've forgotten already. What did the Spanish do? Did they play their event? Oh, destroy. So they've relieved the pressure on the south. They've weakened the Kingdom of Nazrid. And then the Muslims re-strengthening, kind of almost countering what the Spanish did, Portuguese doing nothing. We then go to the naval escort segment. Each power with an explored ocean zone may move 1 naval squadron from a home port to one of the ocean zones that they have explored. Now, I'm not entirely sure what the benefits of this are, but the Portuguese have been building up their squadrons, so they will move their squadrons. I think what this does is it lets them protect. Okay, so I mentioned the Portuguese have been building their settlements, building their resources, and not worrying about the coast. I realised that the coast is important for Portugal because the North Africans here can raid these resources. This is Northwest Africa. This is Southwest Africa, around Cape Verde. So the Portuguese need to protect their naval resources. Basically, kind of in the winter phase of each turn, when you collect all these resources, winter phase. Where is it? Naval resources. Let's check what they've got. Okay, so they add a +2 modifier if they have a naval escort squadron in that ocean zone, which they now have. All right, that'll help them with these 2 resources. They'll add +2 modifier to resolving what happens. If they can control that coast, it helps them even more, by a lot in fact. Okay, so 1 squadron from a home port to an ocean zone, or they can reverse it. And they don't need to make a navigation check. Now we get to troop deployment. All major powers with home keys under their control may move a single formation from one of those keys to a friendly controlled space. Okay, so Ibn Yahya here with quite a few troops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He certainly wants... I think we're going to make things very difficult for the Portuguese. We're going to move him. We're going to leave... Let's leave some militia behind and move these guys down the coast to here. So they're deploying. They're going to try and recapture that last fortress down the coast. The Portuguese... they're in trouble. They've lost so much, and this is now 2 sea zones away, so they can't... you can cross 1 sea zone when deploying. Yeah, cross 1 sea zone only. That said... All right, we've got John II up here in Lisbon. What do we do as the Portuguese? Maybe we... to any friendly controlled space. Cannot cross a pass. Okay. You know what? Let's move these guys. I'm going to leave something behind, at least. Yeah, I'll leave 2 militia behind, I think, and we'll move the rest out to Guarda. And we'll threaten a villa, I think. We'll try and threaten some of these Spanish fortresses out in the west. The French, like I said, so I've got the card, which lets them sort of redeploy across into Italy. I'm going to send Louis. So I want to have a big force in Italy. So I want to make sure that Tremoille has 10 troops with him. So 5, 9, 10, I think that is. 1, 5, 9. Cavalry's free. 10. All right. Then we can send the full 8 with Louis. 4, 5, 6 plus a free cavalry. I can send him. Now I could move him down to Marseille, pick up the 2 regulars, or put him straight in Perpignan. I think I'll put him here. All right, so he's redeploying down to the south to a friendly controlled space. Then we'll move south into Aragon and really help the Catalans in their war against Aragon. So that is spring deployment, troop deployment done. With that done, we move to the action phase, and it's the Muslim turn first. But for now, folks, I will wrap this up. That's just demonstrating how the headline phase works, some of the decision-making process. The Muslims are going to move into Mazagan, lay siege to it, try and knock out those 3 Portuguese militia. The Portuguese are going to start to put some pressure on Spain whilst continuing their discovery of West Africa. They'd love to be able to move down here. That's their limitation. They'd love to set up more colonies. They'd probably like to get some more naval squadrons down here too. Need to build some more now, so I need to build some more, move down, build some settlements. This would be a good place to build another settlement because now I've got the squadron there. Got to explore. We'll continue that, I think. Whilst, if we have the ops available, continuing this war against Spain, we are at war with Aragon and Castile. The Spanish have a huge hand of cards, as you can see, so they can bide their time a little bit. They are at war with France and Portugal. They want to resolve these civil wars. So they're kind of saying that they've been focusing on sort of Aragon around here. Isabella hasn't done much. So we might try and... Oh, look, the French are coming down as well. So we have the advantage of our admin rating. So we can save 2 cards. The French can't. So the French basically have to burn through their deck. They can't pass. And then we'll have some extra cards up our sleeves. So we can go late. We can build up some forces, wait and see what the French do. That's the Spanish advantage. The disadvantage is they're fighting a 2-front, almost a 3-front war. The French, I can tell you, I think they want to spring deploy. Yes, we have troops in Perpignan, but I think we want to see the rise of France. We're going to move Tremoille across to Turin, invade Milan, lay siege to Milan, try and defeat Milan. Actually, that'll be a field battle because they don't have enough to come into the fortifications. We also want to see some Genoese diplomacy. And towards the end of the turn, we'll see... I want to see Milan captured and defeated, which will free up Tremoille, which will then let us wage this war against Burgundy. And if I can play that and resolve it before the end of the turn, that'll be a victory point for Milan and a victory point for the war against Burgundy. And then we'll see what happens in northern Spain. So that's they're the plans for the turn, folks. Turn 2, plans are sorted. We're ready to go, and stay tuned, and I'll report back soon. Thanks everyone for watching, and take care.